So, what makes me cranky about Ralph Breaks the Internet? It replaces everything that was unique and wonderful about Wreck-It Ralph with all of the cringeworthy things that Wreck-It Ralph had so smartly avoided, much to everyone's relief at the time. To start with, as you can probably tell from the title, Ralph Breaks the Internet has basically nothing to do with video games at all. Even the scene in the trailers that involves the little Flash-style game for kids is not actually in the movie. That means there's really only one new game in the movie, and we don't even spend that much time there either. Sure, there's a couple of quick stops in some of the games from the arcade, like Sugar Rush, but that's basically just to set up Ralph and Vanellope's trip off to the internet. Essentially, Vanellope is bored with winning all the time, which is mainly because she can cheat with her glitch, not that the movie bothers to address that issue. So Ralph goes ahead and tries to spice things up in Sugar Rush, which leads to a kid accidentally breaking the steering wheel and putting Sugar Rush out of order. Thus, Vanellope and Ralph have to head off to the internet in an attempt to find and purchase a new wheel off of eBay before the denizens of Sugar Rush end up unplugged for good. Now, with an old-school gaming icon like Ralph encountering the internet, they had a chance to talk about everything from people losing their lives to MMORPGs, to getting milked for every drop by microtransactions, to making a living playing esports or streaming games on Twitch, or to even the existential crisis of discovering there are a near infinite number of copies of yourself out there. Instead, Ralph Breaks the Internet would like to remind you to head over to Oh My Disney, where you can find out which Disney princess you are. Also, remember Chewbacca Mom? That was a fun 5 minutes, right? Oh, you're probably about to type a mean comment in response to this video. Don't worry, thanks to Ralph Breaks the Internet, I know to never read the comments because commenters are jerks who just want to hurt my feelings for no reason. Yes, it's a constant barrage of the kind of banal, obvious internet criticism that had been done to death years before this movie was even written, interspersed with, oh look, there's Facebook, and there's Twitter, and hey, check it out, it's Pinterest. So instead of a classic arcade game character coming face to face with the joys and pitfalls of modern video games, we're treated to 2 hours of dated internet memes and Disney product placement, which is the exact opposite of how Wreck-It Ralph handled its references. Wreck-It Ralph was a love letter to iconic video game characters, tropes, and trends that have withstood the test of time. More importantly, it never let that fan service get in the way of the genuinely heartfelt story at its center, to the point that many people, myself included, were disappointed when it stopped giving us that fan service in favor of continuing the plot when we first saw it all those years ago. Yeah, we all wanted that big video game character team-up near the end, but it would have detracted from the real emotional moments that film delivered, where this guy who was essentially having a midlife crisis realizes that shirking his responsibilities to chase after adoration from his peers would only cause pain and suffering, and that the fleeting admiration he craved from them was nothing compared to the love he received from this kid just for helping her to realize her dreams. It was really good stuff that stood apart from your average Disney animated princess movie or the current trend of rah-rah girl power movies created to offset them. Where Wreck-It Ralph handled its messages and themes with subtlety and finesse, Ralph Breaks the Internet just whips out the sledgehammer and the just shy of fourth wall breaking speeches. Vanellope don't need no man, and the internet is full of shallow, overly clingy people desperate for attention. And while I can't explain further without spoiling the entire movie, in doing so, it actually contradicts everything about the last movie, particularly in regards to going turbo. But we don't have time to dwell on things like the entire point of the first movie. Facebook and Google paid for this, and they need to get their money's worth. Those obligatory hey look things aren't even depicted in particularly interesting ways. Take Twitter for example, which is of course just a bunch of birds chirping at each other. Now, if you've ever actually been on Twitter, you know it's nothing like the melodic chorus of birds tweeting. It's more like a cartoon brawl, where all you see is one giant puff of smoke with arms and legs popping in and out of it all the time. And since the internet here is just a big city, which, again, how original is that, you'd think that Twitter would be like the Mad Max part of town where gangs roam about randomly pouncing upon poor innocent people for their opinions or something, not a beautiful park full of happy birds. So just about the only thing that this movie does well is the Disney princess stuff, most of which you've seen in the trailer already, and it would have been a hell of a lot better without them whining about how big, strong men actually did come in and solve their problems. In fact, the smartest this movie gets in its depiction of anything is the made-up logos it uses for the sweatshirts the Disney princesses are wearing at one point. And it's really sad that they get more screen time than any of the other supporting characters we came to know and love from Wreck-It Ralph. Want to see some more fun interplay with Fix-It Felix and Calhoun? Sorry, you will get Star Wars references instead, and you will like it. There is one reference they forgot, though, and that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works commercial, because the entire climax of this film hinges on people having no idea how computers or networks actually function. So, as I'm sure many other people will say, Ralph Breaks the Internet is basically a more competent version of the Emoji Movie, with a little discount Kingdom Hearts thrown in there for good measure. It's the worst kind of sequel, where not only is it a shameless cash grab that basically has nothing to do with the franchise it purports to be a part of, it actively refutes the messages and themes established by its predecessor. I'm sure your kids will love it anyway, because of all of the Disney stuff, but as a real fan of Wreck-It Ralph, I'd rather have my time back. It has a couple of slightly clever moments, but even at its best, it's an exercise in mediocrity. So if you're a Wreck-It Ralph fan who waits to see this on TV, you're not going to be missing anything special. There are 2 post-movie stingers as well, because what's one more Marvel reference while we're at it? One of them is a mid-credit sequence, and the other is at the very end, and frankly, they were so stupid I was actually irritated I had wasted more of my time waiting for them. You might laugh at them though, so now you know you can stick around if you really want to. That's what I thought about Ralph Breaks the Internet anyway. Feel free to leave your unnecessarily hurtful comments below. Fill my internet bank with your likes. And for more of the latest trends on the web, subscribe to my channel to get notified about the next video.